Welcome, Aquarius, to your Aquarius December 2021 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And for the subscribers, well, you know how much I love to see you. It warms my heart to see you here each month. It really does. I always send a lot of affection and love to you always. Now, by the way, there is a 2022 calendar reading out, which I've done. It's on the playlist on the channel, so you can have a look at that. Now, December, of course, is a big month for most people's, for most spiritual traditions. There's not a lot of feast days, I think, that come to mind for me in the Hindu or Islamic faiths, but certainly in Judaism there is, from the 28th of November through to the 6th of December, Hanukkah. So the first week of December is taken up with Hanukkah. Then on the 8th of December, for the Buddhist faithful, there is, I'm sure, isn't that Bodha Day? Isn't that the day upon which tradition has it, that date, that the Buddha obtained enlightenment? Then, of course, the 12th of December, for the Latina and Latino members of the audience, it is the feast, as you know, of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And that is a time which is concretized affectionately into the hearts of members of that community and cultural background. Now, from the 21st of December through to the 1st of January, the pagan and Wicca members, and I know there's many here, they will know that that's Yule, isn't it? And smack in the middle of that is December the 25th, which in the Northern Hemisphere is the winter solstice, the time when the sun, which was the days which are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, start to become longer and longer and longer again. In the Southern Hemisphere, of course, it's the summer solstice, so all the South Africans and the Aussies are off on their surfboards at that time of year. And let me see, what was I going to also maybe mention in relation to that? Well, of course, that December the 25th in ancient Roman days, that was for centuries the state religion was around Sol Invictus, Sol being sun in Latin, and in Latin Invictus meaning unconquerable. So it was the religion of the unconquerable sun, and the feast day of that and holiday of that deity, I suppose, or that manifestation, that symbolic representation of divinity, was held on December the 25th, and I'm sure that in no small part played a part for why, when Christianity later became the state religion of the Roman Empire, that the birthday of Jesus Christ was set as being the 25th of December. Interesting, isn't it? Now let's take 5 cards for you and see what there is in store, because this is going to be a good year for you. There's the devil, a very interesting depiction of the devil. There's the 5 of swords. Beautiful, beautiful. There's the 9 of discs. Here is the Empress. The Empress is such a good card, and what a great card for you at this time of year, I've got to say. And there is the 3 of discs. So much aligned with it, really. Anyway, why don't you come now? We'll have a look at the artwork on the cards together, shall we? Because that really tells us what's going on. And we'll look at it together, and I'll do the reading for you. Then I think you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a look at the devil first, shall we? I think you'll agree with me that this is rather an interesting depiction of the devil. Let's have a look at you, devil. What do you have to say? Well, the astrology that I'm getting here is Saturn ruling Capricorn with Mars exalted. But Mars, which is very often a troublemaker, is here shown in its best form of the fiery, materialistic energy of creation. Now, Saturn rules Capricorn in ordinary astrology, so this is really good. And, more particularly, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Now, Mars governs your sex drive and creative energy. So this energy has a very strong link to the material side of life and to self-ambition. Capricorn is opposite Cancer on the zodiac wheel, and it's at the top, And at the winter solstice, that is this time of year, it takes place, of course, round about the 25th of December. So there is, for me, a real link to Christ consciousness here. A lot of procreative energy, new vitality, humor, sensuality, sexuality for you, I think. Definitely creative energy and individuality. This card can represent tunnel vision, as the devil's vision is usually directed at some material goal. Now, that can relate to a career ambition, or even just looking after your own best interests, but it does imply, I think, that you are able to accomplish a lot if you are focused. And the devil isn't distracted by any other things. The devil is very focused on the task at hand. Now, astrologically, Capricorn is the sign of business, career, worldly success, and social standing. And Capricorns, well, they're usually hard workers and high achievers, aren't they? Do you know, I think that this card is one of the most misunderstood in the tarot. To understand this card, you have to free yourself from all popular, moral, and superstitious ideas. The devil in ancient mythology from Greece and Rome was represented by the god Pan in the form of a white mountain goat. And I think what we see here, though, is also blind impulse coming about here. Irresistibly strong you'll be. You'll have great degree of endurance, and I have to tell you this. You will have a great personal magnetism around you, and you are going to be very sexually attractive to other people. So do with that what you may. Do you know, sometimes, though, it may be that you do feel that you are restricted or imprisoned by life or by a situation that appears to be out of your control, but you have more influence over that situation than you think you do, and that is being brought about by the Empress, this 9 of discs and 3 of discs around it. You do have influence over that situation. Do check for any addictions that might be stopping you from enjoying life to the full. Now, you know, you need to understand that you do have an ambitious side, but see it for what it is without becoming a slave to it. You'll have a strong desire to compete, to improve, and to win. Keep a balance between the material side of life and your emotions. Well, again, this great degree of being sexually attracted to somebody else as well, or certainly the desire for a relationship. Do you know, from time to time, there may be some people who demonize you, make you out to be the devil. Well, meet them with humor and lightness and accept what life gives you. Keep your feet on the ground. Do you have some wish or desire that you don't admit to? Say this to yourself at this time. I am a vital, joyful, and grounded person. I enjoy my sexuality. Now, whether my problems are real or imagined, I can handle them realistically and with great humor. Now, where might we go? I'm tempted to go on this top line, but I think I want to have a look at this, only because I think it looks like such an interesting painting. What might we have here? Now, remember, this is the 9 of discs, all right, but I'll bring the focus in closer for you so you can see the artwork in detail. Well, if you are a student of the occult, you might be familiar with the image of Baphomet by an occultist called Eliphas Levi. The image here seems to have been fashioned from the head of the Egyptian ram-headed god Khnum. He was an ancient god, even for the Egyptians, and he was the source of the Nile, and later, as the potter who made children out of the fertile clay on his wheel. Now the image here to me appears to be one of a hermaphrodite, a male and female in one body, Hermes and Aphrodite. Now inside you will see a flame. That represents the male aspect of yourself, while the black void, well, that represents the female, the basic elements of creativity. And they form the base and the wheel of the caduceus. At the top of the caduceus, two snakes and the staff merge into one shining orb which sprouts golden wings. This is where all the elements are combined and transformed into gold, something which repeats in the lantern at the top of the Baphomet head. The whole image really is a contrast and reconciliation of opposites, the black and white moons, the black and white columns, earth and the heavens, male and female, human and animal, which are themselves black and white, God and devil. Perfection and exaltation in the natural order of things of which we are part. It is the king and queen residing together in the tower, in one body and one heart, and like Khnum, makes children from the black earth. This nine of disc appears to me to be the perfect harmony of all the elements in the self. It is the complete manifestation of the amazing and powerful human being, the God descended to earth, the devil ascending to earth, the complete woman, the complete man, in all of their beautiful and horrible glory. Now, you might be interested to know that the astrology of this card, in the center here, with the devil next to it here, and with this three of discs there, is that of Venus ruling the second decan of Virgo, 3rd to the 12th of September. Now, Venus, as you will know, is concerned with love and also with money, you know. And these are both expressions of your interests, your desires, your values, your pleasures, your tastes, and so on, aren't they? Well, you'd be crazy if they weren't. And what Venus is doing here, Venus is saying that if your heart is pure and you follow your heart, your life can only gain from this, and good fortune will attend your material affairs. So I see growth, gain, good strong love bonds here, and a wisdom, creativity, and understand the more you give, the more you receive. There will be reward for your efforts and realizing your goals here. Maybe the beginnings of financial and personal independence and a feeling of material security and self-sufficiency around here. Projects, situations, and relationships together will all combine to produce material gain for you. This isn't wealth, but you'll look at this time in 12 months or 6 months' time and look back on here and go, do you know what? I'm now better off where I am now than where I was back here. Do you know that the highest task that life sets for you is to realize yourself? This happens in carrying out the special tasks assigned to you, retreating from your life's tasks out of fear or desire to remain comfortable means denying yourself. This is the Lord of material gain, and gain comes from giving willingly and lovingly. Giving in this sense means also giving yourself up to creation, giving yourself fully to life. The cosmic law of wealth is thereby fulfilled. The more I give, the more I receive. If your knowledge and creativity are filled with love, you will gain from all situations in life. The more deeply you are engaged, the more comprehensive your insights will be. Do you even know What is the highest goal in your life? Can you define it specifically and intricately? And do you have a step-by-step small pathway plan to achieve that goal? Check carefully whether that which you call gain is in full harmony with your ultimate goal. And remember one thing for you at the moment, because it is this, that everything that happens today serves your growth. The more you give, the more you receive. Well, I will look at this card now. Let's have a look at it. What do I see from this? Have a quick look at that. Ah, I see. Very, very good. Look at this little baby down here. Well, let me bring it in so you can have a look. Five of Swords, right? Air, the mind. The word, the logos, that created the world, did not create a world of just gibberish, but rather it created a world of poetry, threads of connectedness and beauty that can be seen in the subtle synchronicities of life. Now, the five here, to me, has mystically, for me, associated with it the planet of Mars, which can sometimes be disruptive and can be troublesome. And all the fives carry with them an inherent element of challenge and suffering, because they're in the middle between the 1 and the 10, so they're halfway away from the ace and they're halfway away from the 10. So they are the furthest you will be from the divine at any one point, locked perhaps into the point of your body, your own hell. You know, this is sometimes a place in which you will have to go to retrieve the very core of yourself so that you can turn and move towards that source in the creation. How you will deal with that challenge and any suffering that might be around, just for a moment, with this energy that comes up here, is through intelligence and strategy and reason and civilized discipline, and for you, with your fine mind, even philosophy. You have a muse and a protectress in the patron of these things, and it is this woman here, Athena. Now, Athena was the ancient Greek goddess of war. She was the protectress of a number of Greek cities, but most particularly of Athens. And the Parthenon in Athens is dedicated to her. And she was also the goddess of creativity and practical things. Her owl was one of the motifs that she was always associated with. Now, this Athena here means that your own reasonable, balanced spirit will be able to look at things from a higher, slightly more detached perspective, and you'll be able to assess a situation with measure and with some balance. Now, Athena was known for her shining eyes also, as is the owl, and vision. Correct, realistic, acute vision is going to be needed now. Now, it is your sign that is around this card here, and it is Venus ruling the first decan of Aquarius, which you will know as the 22nd to the 29th of January. Now, Venus rules two signs, Taurus and Libra. But I have a real earthiness here. Venus, therefore, rules Taurus, which is an earth sign. But here we have Venus ruling your sign, an air sign, and these two are at odds because Venus is a lover and not a fighter, whereas you, Aquarius, you are, well, I think you'd say that you can sometimes be a rebel, ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Uranus. And Aquarius is a fighter, isn't it? Very often for causes. So the individualistic, dispassionate nature of Aquarius clashes with Venus, that Oh, that simpering, I suppose, in this context, planet of relationship. I think Venus is also overwhelmed by the fiery and dispassionate nature and energy of Mars here. So it's possible that you might have a fear of something, a fear of a loss or of a defeat, or a fear of painful situations or experiences. I have this feeling that there's a sort of a fear which pops up and which might dominate for a moment. Now, it might be connected with relationships or, more generally, with the beginning of something which is of great importance to you. I think it is the fear of losing control, of experiencing the feeling that everything is slipping out of your hands that comes about. But I have to say that Aquarius is in particular directed towards the future, so the challenge is to make room for your own objectivity and clarity despite any fear of defeat. See, the essential element, I think, of this card is that of fear, and I think that can distort your view of the present and of the unknown in your future. The Five of Swords here, in this position where it is here, can sometimes relate to a betrayal or a sneak attack by someone you trust and don't suspect as being your enemy. There could very well be a jealous person who is trying to sabotage you behind your back. Now, your fear may be the result of losing control emotionally due to previous hurts from relationships. Is that possible? Or it may be connected with the workplace. We've had an experience that stops you being able to express yourself fully, and your confidence, in a way, has been lost. But understand that when you let go of the feeling of fear, the energy which is bound up with all of these owls here, then that will explode and you will soar into the heights. Now, although swords is really to do with the mind, because of the presence of Venus here, I think, well, there is a mental turmoil for sure that you might be going through, but this could, because of the presence of Venus, also have an emotional aspect from it. But drawing this card here in this position, and opposite this Empress, who probably will have something to say about this, it means that you are now ready to see your fear of defeat. Fear is irrational in nature, you understand, meaning that it doesn't necessarily reflect the real situation. In fact, it very rarely ever does, as you will know from your own life experience. By recognizing this, you will set free all the energies which have been bound up in your fear. If you are afraid to see control slipping out of your hands, remember that the feeling that you are in control is just an illusion. Nobody is in control. Seeing, understanding, accepting, and letting go of your fear will set you free. Now, what do you associate with the idea of defeat? Understand one thing. You are not your fears. It is safe for you to live without guarding and defending yourself all the time. Accept your fear. Give it a name. Describe it, and then let it go. And say to yourself, when I feel afraid, I open my heart and let love dissolve the fear. Well, where shall we go? Let's have a look at this lady who may also have something to say to you about that Five of Swords. And it is this card, the Empress. Well, actually, there are two mother archetypes in the first few major arcana. The High Priestess, who is cold and remote, empty. She's like the empty void or ocean. And then there is the Empress, who is warm, nurturing, and overflowing with diversity and abundance. The Empress carries her child first in her body and then out into the world through birth. Now, the Empress isn't just mother to a single child. She is a symbol of the mother of everything, the abundance and fertility of creation, and she carries all things across the void of creation and into the world of space and time and matter. She takes the child and carries it in her body, covering it with her flesh, and takes it across the threshold from spirit to matter. She carries it out of the dark forest and into the bright sun. The daughter of the mighty ones. Great degree of earth around here. She's very earthy, and there's also Venus associated with her. Now, this is speaking to me of, I'm getting the feeling of pregnancy around here, or maybe it's to do with this child, of course, but I think that you might hear of pregnancy or of a birth. Now, you will find that you start to become in touch with the beauty of your life. You may well find that you are exploring a relationship with your mother or with a mother figure. She is, in a sense, I think, the feminine aspect of God, if you like. God is neither male nor female, or another way of looking at it is to say that God is both male and female. And she is that feminine principle of God, as I see it anyway. And she reminds you that spirituality is expressed from the heart and not from the head. It is a time where you will be nurturing others and also yourself. Fertility all around here. You'll be fulfilling your potential. There could well be a successful business opportunity coming around. You know, the beauty that you see in others which attracts you to them is a beauty that you carry within yourself. You are in the process of unfolding and evolving your feminine aspects. In your life, is there a beautiful, strong woman from whom you would like to learn? Visualize your ideal woman. Write down her most important qualities. Try to find these in others and yourself. Surround yourself with beauty and abundance. And say this to yourself: I give and receive wisely. I realize that the capacity to receive is equally as powerful as the capacity to give. I value the healing power of beauty, harmony, and love. I am filled with power and beauty. I think she also says to you in connection with this Five of Swords, hear me and understand me well, my youngest and dearest child. Let nothing frighten or grieve you. Let not your heart be disturbed. Do not fear that sickness nor any other sickness or anguish. Am I not here? Who is your mother? Are you not under my protection? Am I not your health? Are you not in the crossing of my arms? What more do you need? Let's have a look at this Three of Wands finally, and it has this, which it has to say. Well, I'll just deal directly with the astrology of it, which is the sun in the second decan of Aries. This is the lord of established strength. There's birth, creation, and manifestation here. Sun in Aries. Well, the sun is also exalted in Aries, and this placement is very favorable for you. Aries enjoys a challenge, and Aries suns are happiest when their lives are moving forward and active. So there are ideas crystallizing for you. There is confirmation here that you are on the right path. Maybe business expansion. You might start thinking that a hobby you have, how could I turn that into a business? There is a feeling here with you also of great self-confidence, and there is no compromise which is going to be made with you. Now, reflecting on your point of internal stillness allows a new sense of self-confidence to come into being and guards against an overload of unnecessary problems. This is a time when the wisdom within is strong enough to repulse any anxieties and doubts which may arise. You now have the direction that you need to go forward in your life. Fantastic. that's the way it is for you this month.
Well, I thought that was really, really interesting. It looks like it's going to be a great month for you, and don't you deserve it? You really do, particularly coming up for this time of the year. It's busy for everybody, wherever you happen to be, and it's a wonderful time of year, and it's a wonderful time for you. Now also, don't forget, I have done a 2022 yearly calendar reading where I use some beautiful Renaissance art cards, 12 cards, one for each month of the year, which I think that you'll find delightful, and it's in particular, it points out what a good year it's going to be for you. But until then, have a look at that. But until then, I look forward to seeing you again next month. And remember though, always, and one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.